7 already.
Do you want your paper on the couch like that?
Can you see it?
It is visible, yeah.
Yes.
You want to fix that pillow, the gray one? I know,
one?
I'm
Or on
like
the
looking,
table.
the second one. Sorry, the second one to your right. The gray one.
This one?
Yeah, it's
What's
like a
wrong with it?
little like, I don't know. There you go. Sorry, we don't have a pillow fluffer yet. There you go.
Everybody's.
There's a joke.
I know.
Oh, because normally your puppy would be there. But he's not here.
All right, everybody, let's get on track here. Okay.
It looks like my hair. Thank you, guys. Can you see my head?
No headphones. I could fluff my hair out today.
That's better.
There you go. Oh, you didn't.
Cool.
My hair is. Okay. You can see my face still.
Y'all ready?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so just pretend the intro's going to fade out, and whoever's going to transition us from the intro, just whenever you're ready. I'll
Okay.
give you guys a 3, 2, and the pause, and then you go, Rhea, okay?
Okay, you ready, David? Cool.
He's always ready, huh, David?
Yeah. Ready to get it over?
Let's do it.
All right, quiet on set. Speeding. We're going to go in 3, 2.
Welcome back to another episode of I Survived 2020 podcast. I'm your girl, Rhea Bia. As you'll see, Ranella is back in the building.
Hello, it's
We have missed
so
you
good
so
to be back.
much.
Thank you. I've missed you guys too.
But I feel like Marcus is feeling a certain type of way because he got demoted
what?
back to the couch.
I got
Actually-
used to sitting at the table and being a real official host, but I'm back to the sidekick couch. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I got
You're a little
I feel
bit
like I got
salty.
demoted.
No, I love that couch actually.
Yeah, it's chill.
You know, and I feel like me being gone for a while brought out something else inside of you, and now look at you being
He blossomed.
I blossomed.
Right.
You came up. You actually, you know what? Let me just tell you, you did really good, and
Very good.
You know,
Thank
I
you.
know that you'll never make it back over here.
Oh no.
But it's been
Get
it's
used
been
to the
good.
couch,
It's
right?
been really, really good. But you will be happy today because we actually have a guest in studio
Yes.
Our first,
who will be
our
joining
first
you on
is-
the couch. Our first
our
in
first
studio guest.
Yes.
Yes.
I am so excited about this guest. I know both of you know him on a
Yes,
personal level.
absolutely.
I just had the pleasure of meeting him today. Super dope individual, so talented,
Mm-hmm.
an activist, a writer, a designer, a rapper. Like
Musician,
he has,
like no
he's
other.
so multi-layered, and I'm so excited to have him on and talk about what
Yes.
he's doing and his background and just peel back some of these layers because he's such an interesting individual.
Absolutely.
So with no further ado, let's bring our guest on. I'm so excited for our guy, David
David Sebastian in the
Sebastian.
building.
Yay!
My guy.
Everybody.
What's up, man?
What's
David.
What's up, you guys?
It's
How are you
so
doing?
good to have you here.
I'm amazing. It's just good.
Always.
You are
yes.
so dope to me. Let me just start this off by saying that this is my first time meeting you, but I've watched so many of your YouTube videos.
Thank
I've
you.
seen what you've done in the community, what you're doing in downtown LA. Lyrically, you are so crazy and underrated, but so dope to me. And I just have the pleasure of meeting you today. I'm happy to be in your
It's an honor to
presence.
be here and to be one
Right.
of the first
The first
Yeah.
in studio guests. So thank you.
Amazing. I know, and I've known you for over 10 years. You probably don't remember that. And
I do.
actually
It was another lifetime. Yeah.
Right?
First time.
I met David a long time ago, actually at one of Don Dada's, or Don Dada, or Marcus.
Yeah.
His club. I remember it was at Boulevard 3.
Boulevard 3.
Yes,
remember.
that's what it was called
That
back
was my
then. I
spot.
don't even know
Yeah,
if it's
yep.
still open. And one of the spots that you were probably throwing back then.
Yeah, I mean, David, we go way back too. Like he's been a supporter of mine for years and years, and
Yes.
he's always come to the clubs and performed. And I want to say I probably was one of the first promoters to give him a platform to perform.
Absolutely.
That might be accurate.
Yeah, so we all go. So this again, another full circle
So
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've always been animated. That's why someone that you would never forget.
Yeah, it was a beautiful time. Back then, I was really focused on networking and just being out there. I really just wanted to be out there. And, I didn't have an ID. I was like 18, 17, just sneaking in
What?
clubs. And I remember,
Did you know that, Marcus?
I had
He was underage.
Yeah.
So you were trying to talk to me and you were only 18.
But he was so cool. I don't think we even asked him for his ID because he was
Oh
just,
my
he was that guy back then. He just like walked in like I'm David
Like,
Sebastian.
Yeah, you
Oh,
walked
no.
around like you owned the place. I remember.
Yeah, and
You
I
were
was
like from
I
one
was
couch
young
to
as shit.
another.
It was crazy.
So
That's
you would really
crazy.
just like bust up in these clubs like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about it now in like retrospect, but
That's
like
crazy.
back then, like I was like catching the bus. Like I was catching the bus to the club, couldn't even get home. I was like sleeping in like the bathroom at the Roosevelt Hotel. Like I
my
was on my
gosh.
grind. Like
Wow.
I was just trying to figure it out.
That's
you know?
amazing. And look at you now.
God is good.
Yeah.
God is good. So
Amazing.
let's go back before you were sneaking into the clubs and talk about David Sebastian growing up in South LA. Like, tell us about the early beginnings. What were you doing? Where did you grow up? What kind of inspired you to get on the path you got on as far as like being a true, well-rounded artist?
Okay, so I was born. I'm half black, half Polish Jew. My mother is
Oh, wow.
a devout Christian. Went to church. Had me in church 4 times a week.
Wow.
My father was a fine artist turned rabbi. I've only met him like maybe 5-6
What?
times in my life. He started a family, moved to Israel, but he kind of gave me his genes, on the artistic side. And my mom, she's from Watts. She did the best she could to foster creativity. I was like 3-4 years old. She's playing Mozart in the house. She's teaching me about Goya and Michelangelo and Basquiat and stuff. She would take me to the museum every weekend, so she really helped foster that creativity. Being from Koreatown to downtown and moving to Torrance. I've been to every school in Los Angeles school district, hopping around, being just an ignorant, bad kid with a lot of energy, misplaced energy, misunderstood. And when you're young, especially a young black kid in these inner city schools, I feel like, there's so many people in a classroom that they can't really focus on you. And when when you step outside the box or when you question authority, their first instinct is just to like kick you out
Yep.
or to,
He's a bad
say,
apple. He's
Yeah.
he's
No,
not
that's the
focused.
truth,
Yeah.
especially like when you think of LA Unified School District and how these classrooms are overpopulated. And when you're a kid who needs that one-on-one attention, I was that kid. Like I could not learn in large groups of people. It was my parents who like after school would go home with me and sit at that table and give me that one-on-one. And that's really how I learned a lot. It wasn't.
One of my big picture goals is to revolutionize learning, and just change academia, because the LA Unified School District or just modern, public schools were based off of like the prison system. That's why there's like that huge gate around the school, and that's why you sit in rows and you raise your hand. And I mean, you can mirror prison in school. And it's pretty much the same shit.
I never
That's
even
true.
looked at it like that, but you're absolutely right. It is like
Pledge allegiance to the
Yeah.
flag, walk in a straight line.
And even the food, I remember the food sucked.
the food was like prison food. And even like nowadays, especially with all these school shootings and stuff, like when you enter a lot of these public schools around the country, you're being searched, for weapons
It's
and
a
all
prison.
types of stuff. So it is like being in a
So
prison.
my idea of a futuristic school is very communal, and the students are teachers as well. So the students teach the teachers teach the students, and it's an ecosystem of learning.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Like your perspective on that is deep. It's something I've never looked at it like that, but you're absolutely right. And based off of your experiences, you're taking that and taking it to another level for the future of the school system.
I started my own art program called Just Draw It, and it's for kids 7 to 17. But I had a couple 5-year-olds come in, and I used to hold it downtown in my little 1-bedroom. Well, it wasn't a bedroom, but like one office space corner off 9th and Broadway. And we started with like 3 kids, and then in like 6 months it grew to about 50, 60 kids, and it was free. And I was teaching kids about meditation and manifestation and just everything. It was a beautiful moment. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm getting like a huge warehouse space. So I'm gonna bring it back.
That's
Yeah,
awesome
let
that
us
you
know
teach
because
it.
we have a 2-year-old who needs to be in
Yeah.
that class.
No, trust
I
me.
think-
Every kid that's came to the program, their parents told me like, "Yo, you changed our kid's life." They're in school selling their art now. They're creating clothing lines. They're,
Right. And it's good that it actually to teach young kids to meditation and manifestation at a young age,
Like,
because
you don't get that
people
in
don't
school.
understand that. Yeah, that Lakers, before they even play the game, when Kobe was around, they used to meditate before a game, and people didn't know.
Phil Jackson,
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
that's what they
who
had.
won, the Bulls. He's like won the most championships out of anything. He was like on that visualization vibe,
Right.
and that's what I'm on.
It's really important, yeah, for kids to do that. Especially now, kids are like stressed out at a young age. Like, what are you stressed about? You don't have bills yet. You know?
Right.
So
This world is crazy.
crazy. Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Especially with all the technology and kids being kind of hooked on these iPads and all these gadgets, So for them to
Visual
have-
toxic.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
people
so
don't
that's
understand that
super
you're
dope.
absorbing.
Like you said,
and
we got to get story down
inhaling.
there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and not everybody learns the same way. I think that's part of like the prison mentality that you speak of in the school system. It's like if there's 50 kids in a classroom, we don't all think alike, we don't all learn alike, so you can't teach us all the same way. People absorb information differently. So like giving folks that outlet, especially that creative outlet that has been taken out of so many schools just because of financial purposes. Like you see a lot of the arts have been taken out of the public school system.
And just to be accurate, I don't know the guy's name, so I don't want to misquote. But during the Industrial Revolution, there was some old white man who kind of mirrored manufacturing, but during the manufacturing boom with school to teach, like, it's like an assembly line, right? So raise your hand. It's teaching kids how to be workers, how to be slaves, not how to be independent thinkers. So I used to get kicked out because the teacher would be like, the earth is round. I'd be like, how do you know?
That kid, that question,
Yeah.
like,
He
man.
challenged the
Yeah.
teacher, like, where do you get that from?
And the
Like,
teachers do
Right.
not like being challenged.
That's good.
man, that's so dope.
Yeah.
That's so dope.
So anyhow, you're a huge advocate for the homeless,
Yeah,
and you have the brand Skid Row Fashion Week,
for sure.
and see, I'm reading off of this, and collection. Not all heroes wear capes. Where does your passion to combat homelessness come from, and what do you think the solution to fixing the problem is?
Well, first off, I kind of hate words like advocate or philanthropist or any of those 3-syllable words because at the end of the day, I'm just a human being. You know what I mean? I just care. And like that's really it. There's no like special, there's nothing special about it. I just feel like it's ridiculous that we live in a planet or in a country or in a city where there's people who don't have basic needs when there's multi-billionaires, multi-millionaires, and a multi-billion-dollar fund to help the homeless that hasn't been allocated. So really I'm just a human being doing what I'm, using my voice, I guess.
That's like one of the reasons I've really been drawn to you, because I also, Marcus and I live downtown LA on 6th and Spring. Then we moved to 6th in Los Angeles, and you have, like you said, these multi-million-dollar lofts that are like the size of a closet. People are paying $2,500 to $3,000 a month living there. And then a couple of blocks down the street, you have Skid Row. And to me, it was living down there, I just didn't feel comfortable. I was like, I have to do something. So we actually became really involved with like the homeless community.
It was a real wake up call living downtown because, we lived in this really nice loft. And then you walk downstairs and you have, you see guys wearing $500 suits stepping over homeless people. And it's just like, it was a huge wake up call living down there. And yeah, it's just a huge problem. Like, what do you think are some of the solutions for fixing the homeless problem in LA?
Well, I could tell you my personal solution that I'm working on, and it's a little far fetched, it's a little idealistic. But before I go into that, just to segue, Skid Row Fashion Week, the brand, was created to employ, empower, and rehabilitate the homeless. So think of a brand like Supreme, right? Supreme made like annually, in their best year, let's say $300 million, right? So imagine the clothes Supreme being made by the homeless. So you're creating job opportunities, and then a percentage of the sales go directly back into housing, rehabilitation, and building out programs to help sustain a better future. So that's kind of the ecosystem we have. We have a warehouse downtown called Skid Row Manufacturing, where, you know, if you want to start a clothing line, you know, you could go to them, you could go to them, you go to them, or you could go to us. And if you go to us, you know that, you know, we took someone off the street, we gave them a job, and they're working on your stuff. So
you're teaching people how to manufacture and
teach people how to fish,
Right,
essentially. And we've had like maybe 10, 12 people through the program, but we're growing every day. And so back to the solution. My goal in the next 3 to 4 years is for Skid Row Fashion Week to gross maybe $150 million, and to take about 80, 90 million of it and to buy 1,000 acres outside of Las Vegas and create a multi-dimensional, eco-friendly, self-sustaining compound that could house maybe 20,000 people. And it's a 360-degree free food, rehabilitation, career learning, meditation, everything you can. It's like going to be like a year program. Going to buy a bunch of buses and bus people from Skid Row, and they get free housing, everything, and they get to learn whatever they want.
Yes, I think I mean, so many people just kind of discount homeless folks, like, oh, they ended up there because, you know, because they didn't do this or they didn't do that. And I have a lot of compassion in that area. I have a family member who was homeless, and we actually got him into one of the shelters in downtown Los Angeles. And from that, just building a relationship with the folks in that community and just having those conversations, there's so many different reasons why people end up homeless. Yeah. It's not always because of drugs. And then there's a whole backstory on drugs too, why some people get into drugs. It's not always like laziness. Right. There's a lot of different reasons, and a lot of times these people just need a shot. They need somebody to care. So, you know, shout outs to you for doing what you're doing and for caring enough to give people this opportunity.
Yeah, especially with women. Sometimes I've heard like some women, due to sex trafficking, I know that's another story, or have been abused, they ran away.
It's crazy stuff going down on Skid Row. Like people are running up in tents, raping people. I know a woman, her tent got set on fire. Someone tried to kill her. There's kids, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids living in these tents. It's really crazy. So that's just one of my big picture goals.
That's amazing.
That I'm working towards.
Let's just hope they don't go to Vegas and go gamble and then come back to the tent. I'm just kidding.
So with Skid Row Fashion Week, you kind of took like your love for fashion and married it with something that you were observing and felt like, you know, needed to be addressed.
No offense, because I know in this era where things are so easily accessible, like back when I knew you, it was hard to have a clothing line. Like back 10 years ago, you couldn't just go to a manufacturer and you didn't know how it works. Right. But now everybody can have a clothing line. I mean, so my concept, it was, you know, the last thing the world, like, especially me moving into this minimalism space, you know, what is necessary for the planet? What do we need? What don't we need? And I felt like I could just create a clothing line on some like fly shit, or I could create something that made a difference. You know, so
no, that's a big deal. Even how you're talking about sustainability and all that. But you know, you've worked with fashion for a while, and we know that back in 2019, Gucci had put out a piece that had blackface on it, and it was going completely viral. Like.
Yeah.
For most of us who saw that for the first time, we were like, how in the hell do you not see that there's something wrong with this? Clearly, there's a lack of diversity in these office spaces for this to even be allowed to get where it got. But we know that you took a stance with that.
Yeah. And I don't believe it's even a lack of diversity. You gotta look at who owns these companies, who runs them, who their target demographic is. You know, like, we get mad when, like, let's say the police kills one of ours, right? But who runs the police?
Right.
The Klan is the police. So it's like, you can't, like, there's systems in place where you know, you can't really be mad at the oppressor when you know that they're the ones who are oppressing you. Gucci wasn't made for black people, but we support it the most, you know. And I don't know the exact percentage, but it's astonishing. Like, most of their revenue comes from the belts, from belts and bags, and that's because that's the cheapest someone can buy in and feel like they're a part of the brand. So
Yep.
niggas are just buying Gucci belts
Just to wear it.
It's crazy.
just to wear it, just to feel a part of something, instead of spending that money and supporting, you know, your brother, your fellow black business. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, put money. But it's all systematic program. It's not your fault. Like, if you brought a Gucci belt to feel cool, it's not your fault. It's years and years and years of programming and systematic oppression, and you feeling like you need validation from some Italian brand, you know?
Right.
And let's not even talk about them stealing from
Oh, man.
our
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure. They're
style.
known for like stealing designs
Yeah.
from small like
designers,
black
yeah.
owned businesses and black designers.
taking
And
it
that's
down.
I mean, there's a number of people we know somebody personally
Yeah,
who
my
that
boy, shout out
happened
to my
to.
boy Nick Mayfield. He designed a black leather jacket with some very distinctive strawberries on it, and they dropped
The same
identical. I mean, from the detail, and you know, he was on some
Trust
fuck,
me, I know.
he was
I've
on some fuck Gucci shit too, and it was around the same time that you did your.
I've been stolen from more than I can count. But like I said, I used to, I guess this comes with age or wisdom, but I used to be infuriated when brands or artists or companies would steal from me, until I just realized that, you know, when you have a lack of creativity or a lack of authenticity, there's only one thing you can do, is go online and peel from the people who might not have such a big voice. You know,
Yep.
it's just the game.
Yeah, I mean, it happens with fashion and music and
everything.
A lot of people do that right now, like, and they peel from other people just to, you know, people of position.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people complain about that. Like, wait, this person just copied my style, or copied, you know, as an artist, copied my music and
Well,
you know,
see,
my
I'm talking
idea.
about something a little bit more tangible. So, you know, you have people who are, you know, in rural parts of the country. It's like, yo, that he took my style and shit. Like, I get that, but like, I've had artists like steal a song, steal a hook, steal the beat. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
straight up.
steal the name. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you
Damn.
can't.
Right, no, that's
You
true.
know, but whatever.
So like seeing this happen, it happens all the time with the Gucci bonfire that you led in downtown LA. Like for this particular design that came out by Gucci, what was it about this design, aside from the fact that it was blatantly like
Blackface.
disrespectful in blackface? What was it about this time that made you say like, F this, I'm about to do something, we're about to burn all this Gucci? And did you own any Gucci at the time?
No. Well, I'll tell you the story, to be honest with you. So that whole thing was kind of going on, right? You know, they were releasing it, and it was an outrage. And I was on Melrose, and I just so happened to have a lot of spray paint on me. And no, I mean, I swear it wasn't planned. I just had a lot of spray paint on me. And across the street from the flea market was this huge, like, 30-foot wall. And normally there's advertisements on it, but for some reason it was just a white wall that day, and I had a lot of spray paint on me. And I was standing in front of this wall for like 10 minutes, and that's normally how I approach art. Like, I don't come with like a preconceived idea. I kind of let God channel, you know, flow through me. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just like looking at this wall, and I remember it was like 4 niggas that walked past me, and they were in like head to toe Gucci, like Gucci uniforms, Gucci jumpsuits, Gucci belt, pants, all Gucci. And the first thing that came to my mind was, you know how Kanye said George Bush doesn't care about black people? It was Gucci doesn't care about black people. And I was like, oh shit, that's dope. I was like, that'd be dope if I drew like a Klansman in a Gucci like Klans robe, and then drew like a coon in front of a mirror wearing like he's wearing Gucci, but like it just came to me, right? So I start spray painting it, and before you know it, I hear sirens, and I'm like, oh fuck, like sirens. And I was with my assistant at the time, and they was like, yo, we should dip. So before you know it, I start hearing helicopters. So I'm hearing helicopters, I'm hearing sirens. I'm like, fuck. So I dip out, and I start running. The cops block off Melrose and Fairfax. They blocked, like they set off a barricade. Before you know it, it's two helicopters circling. And man, I did like the illest shit to get away from the police, man. Like the illest shit.
What did you do?
So these 4 bike cops started chasing me, right?
Bike cops.
Yeah, they were on bikes.
Oh my goodness.
And
They're not fun.
and I'm running, and so like imagine this is a corner, right? This is the corner, right? And they're circling me this way, right? I'm in front of them by like maybe 100 yards, right? I hit the corner. I automatically fall on this like I seen a newspaper. I fall on the street, put some newspaper over me, and I just like fucking homeless. Literally, no cap. I was like, this.
That was genius.
Wow.
How'd you even think that fast?
Because I'm
That's like
like
a
the way my
movie.
mind works is
That's
like
some movie shit.
I'm thinking if I continue to run, they're gonna catch
They'll
me,
catch me.
right? So. But they're not about to just stop some random homeless nigga on the
Right.
floor, and then they're just gonna be like, "Where'd he go?" So I'm literally on the floor with the newspaper. Hearing them, they're like, "Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Blah blah blah. Where'd he go?" And I'm just like, "God, please."
Don't take it.
Hilarious.
No,
That's
right?
hilarious.
I'm gonna tell you how like God works. It was the illest shit. They go past me. I'm still covered up in the shit, and then I hear a bus, like a bus, the bus coming, and the doors
Wow.
open. Your side, blah blah blah. I hopped up, ran on the bus. I was out of there.
Wow.
So
That was the best.
Yeah.
getaway
So you
story.
just left
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
whatchamacallit.
and for anyone listening, trying to get away from the police,
Here's how you
That's
the
not
worst
always
thing you
important.
could do is just run in a straight line. You have to think about. You got to think about human psychology. You know what I mean? Like this probably isn't good for LA for the cops listening to this, but I've gotten away a couple times just purely off of just human psychology. People are trained to do one thing, and
Yeah, you got to go that
you
exact
got to do the exact
Mm-hmm.
opposite. But so I got away, and then somehow some newscaster found me, and they did a story on me, and then I printed some. I took the shirt, the painting that I did, and I put it on a T-shirt. And then Gucci sent me a cease and desist and told me to
Did they?
Wow.
yeah. So he sent me a cease and desist, and then I printed the cease and desist on the back of merch, and then I sold that.
That's dope.
Wow.
And then they sent another letter threatening to take like big action, and then I was just like, you know what, it would be fucking tight to just bring like everybody in the city to just burn Gucci, just to burn their earthly possessions, to kind of like as a liberation type of thing. So, that's my number one favorite thing to do is bring people together. So we did it, and Dame Dash pulled up. A lot of
Yeah.
artists, everybody pulled up. And the funniest story is this white girl came in head-to-toe Gucci. She thought it was an actual
Oh my
Gucci
God.
party, right?
Oh
She thought it was
my
a Gucci party,
gosh.
so she came head-to-toe Gucci. Can you believe this girl stripped down to her underwear and threw
She was
everything
like,
in the
"Fuck
fire?
this Gucci."
Wow.
She threw. I have.
She had no choice at that point.
Yeah, she is. She
Everyone was like,
see that the
everyone was
clothes are
cheering her on and shit. It was like some real movie shit.
That's
It was
dope.
beautiful. So
That is
That's
dope.
crazy. We need a picture of that or a video or something.
Yeah, I gotta see that video.
yeah,
It's probably fake anyway. I'm just kidding.
So you go from burning Gucci, but you were designing clothes of your own, and you started you've been collaborating with a lot of different brands
Yeah.
and designers. From who? I know that you did
Billie
something with like
Eilish,
I mean,
Alicia Keys.
YG. I was working with
Yeah.
OVO, Drake stuff. I did all the Chris Brown's tour merch. I've done stuff for Steve Aoki, Ruka, Denmark, Rock and Republic. I've worked with a lot of people.
Right.
And
my understanding is like that's what you used also to support you with the music business.
Yeah,
That's
I never
dope.
really from let's say 95% of people, like it was just a check to help sustain it.
Right.
But yeah, it was cool. Yeah,
And it was also good to connect and network doing that.
it
No.
was all right.
No.
It was cool. I mean, I can't front. It was okay. It was a job, because
Really?
at the end of the day, I know what's cool. I know it's dope, and sometimes you get clients who don't know what's dope, but want to like tell you what they think is dope, and I'm like, why did you hire
why
me?
am I
Right.
here?
Why am I here?
Right.
To
You
give-
don't need me.
You don't need me.
Yeah, do it yourself.
Yeah, so
I mean, it was probably easier for you as an artist to base it around their style, their image, to give them a visual of
well, the
what they should-
best collaborations worked when I just gave them my sauce.
Yeah.
Like I just I can't speak about it because I just closed the deal, but I'm designing for this water company, and I came on to do like a whole merch line or something, and I did it like this. And I told the person I was doing the deal, I was like, you could have met with any designer in the city, and I'm most confident that like I'm at that point now. It's so weird. Like, it's not even arrogance, but I feel like I'm like really one of the illest like graphic designer artists. Like, YG's collection, I did his whole entire collection in an hour in his living room. I came, it was like, yo, let's talk about it. I was like, nah, don't worry. I put out my iPad. I did the whole
Second
shit.
nature.
It sold out in a day. Like, it was, you know.
So that collection and that collaboration with YG, that was done. It came out last summer, right? Around the time of the George Floyd protests. Was that the inspiration behind that design?
Yeah, I mean, the time was, you know, I've always been a mirror of the times, and it was a chaotic period, and yeah, that was definitely.
Because you've always been, and I know you don't like to label yourself as an activist, but you always have been a voice of the community, a voice of speaking out against systematic
everything
racism.
that has happened in the last year or two. I've been talking about that shit since
Years,
2010.
yeah.
I've been
I
telling
can vouch for-
everybody
I can-
all this shit was coming.
Yeah, this ain't no new. This ain't new.
Yeah, it's not
he's
some
not
old
one of the
new
people that hopped
Hollywood.
on the protest bandwagon last year. He's been definitely
All
voice.
the like I know what happened. I know what's about to happen. I know what 10 years from now. I know what it is. So I'm kind of, man. I really spend most of my time like 3-4 years in the future. Like right now, I'm making music. Like I have music. I have the next 3 albums finished. I have a film finished. I have like 6-7 videos finished. I'm like in 2024 right now.
Now, I was reading something about you that every time you go into the studio to record music, you come out with like at least 7 tracks or something like that. Is
Y'all
that
did some research. Where you know that?
is that true?
I mean, pretty much.
So you just have like a vault of music that's waiting to be released at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. When I go in the studio, like I'm like, it's not. I don't even want to say fast, but I just become the music. I don't know how to describe it. I just like,
It just comes natural to you.
yeah.
Just-
It's not even that. Like, I'll go to some artist sessions and they'll spend like 3 hours on a record, and I think the purest form of music is emotion and expression, and you can't duplicate that or replicate that in 100 takes. You know, like most of the songs you heard, America on Fire, these records were done in like 1 take, 2 takes. And they're like, yo, you done? Yeah, I'm done. I keep the fuck ups in there. Like if I mispronounce something, I just keep, because it's the feeling, it's the moment, you know.
Right. So creativity to you is just like second nature. I mean, pretty much that's you. That's what you embody. That's
I have
who
a
you
bar
are.
that says, I'm not an artist, I'm what art is.
I saw a freestyle session of you. I think it was Homegrown Radio with Head and Chuck Dizzle.
Yeah,
Shout outs to y'all.
Shout out.
Shout out. Yeah, yeah.
Family over there. But I was just like, this dude is going off. Like, you were going off, and it was just like, it was flawless. And so that's why when we introed this show, I was like, you're so dope but underrated, because you have a lot of artists coming out of specifically the West Coast, since you're, from here. And you're hearing about them all the time. They're on the radio all the time. They're here and there. But lyrically, you're smashing.
I'm going to be honest. I'm one of the greatest to ever do it. I really am.
I
like
love it.
time
I
hasn't caught up
believe it.
yet. It's like it
believe
hasn't,
it.
consciousness hasn't caught up. But when it's all said and done, when my story's written, hopefully I'm here to see it. I will go down as one of the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah, we were listening to some of your music on the way to the studio today, and Rhea was like, "Yo, when you listen to his music, you can't really tell that he's from L.A. He doesn't have that
A
typical
vibe.
standard kind of L.A.
which
West
is
Coast
so
sound."
dope.
It's like, where do you?
Well,
draw-
I'm from LA, born and raised in LA roots. But my musical palette like is everything from Fela to like to Mozart to punk bands to fucking. I'm trying to think of like some obscure shit. Like I listen to like French, like French abstract, like
Delivery,
I listen to everything.
And that comes from your upbringing and what you were exposed to as a kid, like listening to Mozart.
Yeah,
and all
like
that
this
stuff.
morning
I'm
I
like,
woke up and I'm in the shower and I'm listening to like the Interstellar soundtrack. Like I pull from different things. That's why over that beat, that was like some like jazz vibes. Like I just, you know.
You can hear it. You can hear it in his music. Dad.
No, you can definitely hear it. And what I love about it is, a lot of times when you do hear artists, you're like, oh, they're from the South. Oh, they're from the East Coast. Oh, yeah, they're definitely from the West Coast. But with
I'm from
you,
Earth.
And that's actually how you sound. It's just like you have your style is just like you have so many layers to it. It's just like, oh, he did this. He just freestyled. And then there's this next song that's like really happy where you're like, I want to go to the club and have fun. So there's so many different levels to you that I think is just like, it's super dope. And it kind of shows who you are as a person.
One of my favorite rappers like of all time is Pac, you know. And that's something I appreciated from Pac. Because Pac could give you a Dear Mama, but then he could give you a Hit 'Em Up. He could give you a I Get Around, but he could give you changes.
Right.
You know, he was human.
So this past April, you released your first album, right?
Mm-hmm.
We
On
Are
your
God.
birthday.
We are God. Yeah.
So when I first heard that title, obviously, you know, it stood out. Like, oh, that's dope. But like, what was the inspiration behind that title?
Wow. So not this April, but a year ago, April, I had this album. I had this body of work, and I've had it for maybe 3-4 years. If I would have dropped it 4 years prior, it was so ahead of its time. I mean, it's still ahead of its time, and I did it like 4 years ago. But you know, I was in a management situation, and we kind of held off on it for whatever reason, and we just never put it out. And some of my greatest music was stuck in hard drives. So I kind of like excommunicated myself from that situation. It's all love, family to death, but I just kind of, you know, stepped into my own as a man. And I had this album and I wanted to drop it. And I didn't know how I was going to drop it. And at first it was going to be called Beloved because my name is David, and David in Hebrew means beloved, you know. But it's my birthday. It was a week before. It was 2 days before my birthday. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm about to just drop it. But I couldn't put it on Apple. I couldn't put it on Spotify. Nothing was cleared. It was just like my friends, my counsel at the time was like, that's a horrible idea. You're about to throw away all this music. I'm like, you know what? I have fans. I have people who supported me from the jump. You know, I got a call from my friend Adrian Miller. I don't know if any of you guys know Adrian, but he was like, yo, you know what you should do? You should sell it. And I was like, damn, you're right. So I was like, okay, so how could I sell it? What can I do? So in 2 days, I got wearegod.com, and I created like a flyer, and it had my Cash App, my Venmo, my, whatever. And it came with instructions to listen to the album. Like, to listen to the album, you got to set an intention. You got to, like, do some breathing. Like, the album came with, like, instructions.
So you had to, like, really search
you
and
had to
find
tap
this
in.
album.
It gave you a time to listen to it. You had to listen to it, like, after 9 p.m. so you could be in touch with, like.
Oh, it came with instructions.
It came with instructions.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll never forget it. I was in my office, smaller than this room. I was living in it, homeless, living in this like little cubicle. And I got on my knees, man. I just like prayed to God. I was like, man, you know, I've been faithful. I've been a servant, and I need this to work. And whatever work is, that's on you. But I need this to work out, you know. And I dropped it. And the first day, I think I made like, I don't know, like $8,000. Wow. $7. I sold it for $7.77.
So your Cash App is just like ding, 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 ding.
Venmo cash, ding, 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 like the whole.
Like,
no, but it went like that for like maybe 2 months. Like I had people give me $500, $1,000. Dame gave me $20,000.
What?
Dame brought the album for $20,000.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What's your Cash App? Give everybody.
Right,
we can still do it, right?
Yeah. You can't. Well, actually, you can't because I'll tell you why in a second. But
Okay.
yeah, I made a lot of money, and like my life changed. And then I got a call from an executive who called me. I don't even know how he got my number. I don't know how celebrities and executives get your phone number, but they got my number.
Find it.
And he's like, yo, I'm pulled over on the side of the road on the freeway, and I heard your album. I've been on the side of the freeway for like 2 hours. I heard it back and forth, and like I'm in tears. Like I've cried, I've laughed. Like this is like the most impactful album I think I've ever heard. Do you have a deal? And I'm like, nah, I got no deal. I'm independent. He was like, yo, you know, I want to put something together for you. And I was like, all right, cool, you know. But one thing about me, I've been independent since you've known me. Independence means a lot. And if I was ever to do like a partnership, it would have to be like on my terms. Like I would need full ownership of my masters. I would need, you know, a 50-50. Like I would just need certain things that most artists aren't aware of. Right. So I told him, and we were in negotiations for maybe 2 months every day. Me, lawyer, them. It got all the way up to the founder of the label, and this is like one of the biggest labels in the world. Yeah. And then another label came out, and they countered their offer, and they countered their offer, and they countered their offer.
You created a full like bidding war.
Yeah, a super bidding war. And then one day, I was gonna actually do the deal because they agreed to everything. They agreed to give me. There's just one thing they didn't agree to. So they agreed to my advance, which was crazy. They agreed to my terms. They just wouldn't agree to a marketing budget. And it didn't make sense because it's like, why would you give me a multi-million-dollar deal and not commit to marketing?
That's where the biggest money.
Yeah. So then I got a call from Rodney Jerkins. And Rodney Jerkins was like, yo, Dave, guess what I got in the studio? I'm like, ooh. He's like, I'm with G. Roberson. And if any of y'all listening, G. Roberson managed Kanye, managed Drake, managed Wayne, managed Nicki, managed Lil Nas. He's one of the biggest executives in the game. And Rodney was like, yo, he came to the studio. He was like, yo, I'm looking for like the next Ye, like someone who could rap this, more fashion. He was like, I think I got the right person. So I get on the phone with him, and he's like, and I told him like, yo, I'm about to do this deal tomorrow. He's like, yo, don't sign it. Give me a week to find you a better offer. And I said, a week? I didn't want to slow down momentum, but I was like, cool, I'll do a week, right? He called me back in 3 hours with a deal that was quadruple the size, like a $1.7 million marketing budget. Wow. They didn't want to commit to marketing. I got like a million.
You got a $1.7 million marketing budget in addition to everything else. In addition to everything.
And full ownership of my masters and a JV situation. There's really no deal like it right now.
I mean, for you to own your masters, on your first deal,
that's like unheard of.
It's unheard of.
Yeah,
and a lot of artists don't even know how to navigate through this to even get to that point to have those conversations to say like, I need full ownership of my stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Forbes did an article on it. You know what I mean? It's 2021. I shouldn't. I don't have a master, and they shouldn't own my masters.
That's right.
But so we ended up doing a deal with Warner, and that's who I ended up partnering with, and they've been incredible partners, and allowed me the space and the freedom to create and to grow and to do all these weird ass ideas that no one in the building is doing, and like they're just like, what, you want to shut down? You want to do? All right, do it. So
congratulations.
And speaking of weird ass ideas, and not that this is a weird idea. I think it was one of the dopest, most creative ways to release a music video. You dropped the Revolutionary video. Yeah. And let's talk about the way that you premiered the video and where you premiered the video and what inspired you to do it at the location that you did.
I dropped it and I premiered it. I projected it on the LA County Jail.
Twin Towers.
On the Twin Towers.
Most people want to stay away from Twin Towers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not.
I brought 100+ kids out there, and we had a party.
Yeah, it was a Friday night.
And we didn't even get shut down. The cops sent a drone. They sent drones to spy on us, like little drones just hovering over us, but they didn't stop it.
Really?
And we projected over the entire building, and
like, what made you do that? Like,
I wish I could give you some profound reason to be like, I did it for my niggas locked up, But
like, I was gonna ask you, did you have somebody,
I mean, I've
somebody
been in
that
there.
you wanted to see the video?
I've been in there. I know people are locked up. My uncle has been locked up for the last 30 years consecutively. I just did it for all the revolutionaries behind bars that might not have a perspective, an opinion that there's so many brilliant people in jail right now.
Yeah.
So many philosophers and people who are just brilliant and who might never see the light of day for petty crimes. Like there's people locked up for like weed related crimes right now, and
years
like
ago.
it just don't make sense. So I just wanted to do something different. I was gonna premiere America on Fire on the White House. I was this close, and I still might do it.
I think you should still do it.
Yeah, it's gonna cost me like $120,000 to 3D project map the entire White House, and I'm probably still gonna do it. So anyone listening,
You got the budget to do it. There you go.
Yeah, you got the money to do it now.
You got the marketing
That
budget.
cash out.
I just want to do shit no one's ever done.
Right.
That's it.
Awesome.
Definitely. Do
You
it.
know, you mentioned Kanye, and people compare you to him a lot, just like with the way you think, and just nobody else is thinking to project something on Twin Towers or on the White House for that matter. Like, what do you think about that comparison? Because I personally think Kanye as an artist is just like so dope. So when people compare you to him, are you like, nah, I'm nothing like that dude, or how do you take that?
I think it's an honor. I think Kanye as a thinker is one of the greatest thinkers of our generation. Outside of the box, he's been misconstrued as crazy, blah blah blah. But anyone who has some level of genius at some point in time has been called crazy. People call me crazy. Like we live in this box, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but have you ever seen like someone take a pen and draw a box on a sheet of paper, and then an ant, like there's an ant,
Right.
and you draw it, and then the ant can't go outside the box. Have you
That's
seen
true.
that?
Yep, I've seen that. Mm-hmm.
So it's literally just an ant on a piece of paper, and just with a line, they just draw the thing, and literally the ant
Just
can't
goes
go
right.
outside
Really?
the box. And there's
Yeah.
nothing trapping them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we are as a
Our
society, as a people, as humanity. We are living inside these lines that don't even exist.
Yep.
I believe we're capable of so many things. I believe we're capable of
Absolutely.
flying and telepathy and like all types
So
of
many
shit that
things,
we haven't tapped into. So Kanye is a free thinker. So I think it's amazing. I've met with Ye, and he probably said the same thing.
Well, are we looking forward to a collaboration with the two of you?
Man, maybe. I mean, maybe at some point, but I think Kanye is on some other shit right now. He's probably not even, maybe. That would be amazing, though. That would be great.
I would love to see it.
Me too. I think lyrically and just like your whole style, it's so much alike, and I would love to see something like that. Just FYI.
Well, there's two things that could happen. When things get to a point where it really breaks into pop culture, the bigger artists like the Ye's and they can embrace me wholeheartedly, which I hope they do because they're the reason why I got into music. Or sometimes, older artists sometimes feel away. They feel away about artists who might step into their lane or their legacy, and they kind of shun them. I'm with whatever though, but I would love to collaborate. I'm all open for it.
And one thing that I respect about you as an artist, you haven't got the big features and the big cosigns throughout your career, but you still managed to build this organic fan base.
I am the definition of underground.
Yeah,
feel
for sure.
you.
Like dude, I've worked with some of the biggest artists. They could have easily shouted me out, yo, at David Sebastian, you the I could have got the
Yeah,
but
it's cool.
It's cool. Listen, you know what my mom tells me? She says, David, she said, it's better this way.
Right.
That way no one could ever say they did something.
Something for you, and you did it yourself.
I did it myself. Ain't nobody say, yo, I
Building
blew
it.
you up with the nigga.
Nope.
Nah,
I did this.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
did this.
exactly.
So I'm really happy.
So you've mastered the art of mind over matter. You've mastered the art of manifestation. You know how to hide from the police. Like what's next? What's next for you?
Invisibility.
Wow.
Nah, fuck it.
You probably already have the machine for that.
You did hide from the police, so I don't
Yeah.
know. You may be able to make yourself
What's
invisible.
next? Honestly, just
Movies, Marvel.
I mean, I have a film that's gonna come with the next album I'm about to drop,
Nice.
but it's really just amplifying everything that I'm currently doing
Yep.
right now. So, dropping more records, better videos. Skid Row Fashion Week, I'm gonna shut down Skid Row. Like, I'm gonna actually block off the whole street.
We're there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
Sure.
take people who live in that community,
Mm-hmm.
get them on some, Ford
That's
model
awesome.
Wilhelmina
Get a
level
fly.
vibes.
Love
Room.
that. I love that.
And I'm creating like a collection with. I don't want to give too much away
Yeah.
in case someone's listening and want to take that shit, but I'm doing that, and I'm bringing back the Just Draw It program. I'm starting a series called A Day with David, where I take people who live on Skid Row and I give them the day of their life, and then at the end, I employ them with Skid Row, so that's gonna be
Nice.
cool. Just learning to be a better man, friend, brother, son.
Well, you're such an inspiration, and
Thank you.
we're so happy to have you here, and we support you 110%. Whatever you're doing, like I keep saying, you are so dope, and I know that you know that. So you have our support. We want you to come back whenever you have something going on, and
Yeah, for sure. You got a home right here.
Oh,
we'll
no,
have some hot Cheetos and some green drinks for you.
Green
No,
beans.
I'm a loyal person. Like, there's certain artists who are like, do something at a certain level, and then they get to Drake level, they get brand new.
Right.
I could be Drake. Like, I'll pull up wherever. Like,
Yeah.
I've never changed from the day you met
When
me.
I asked him to come on the show, he was like, "Just tell me when.
It's nothing, right?
Let's make it happen."
So-
So we appreciate you. Where can people find like the clothing line and where can people?
Go to my gram at David Sebastian anti Sabastian. I might still be shadow banned, so you might have to write it all out. And by the time you hear this, I'm changing it to. I shouldn't say that because that's the one thing. But the point is at David Sebastian, or you could text me 310-388-5193.
Or you could Cash App him too. Okay.
Yes.
Drop the cash app. Drop the cash app. Drop
Cash App David Sebastian, Venmo, whatever. You
Yep.
know, you can figure
We
me
support you. We bought the album earlier, and we're gonna just keep supporting you, my brother.
out. Dope. Thank
Appreciate
you. Thank
you.
you guys. I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you for being here.
David Sebastian in the building.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep it locked, y'all.
That's about 2020 podcast.
I was